Welcome back to the meeting after the meeting, everyone. We're your hosts, David O.
Carly R.
And Eric V.
And today we are joined by our very special return guest, Harriet. How are you doing today?
Oh, wonderful, guys. Thank you.
Absolutely. Where are you from, Harriet?
I'm from Buffalo, New York, originally.
Mm-hmm. And you're down in Florida now, right?
Right, yeah, right. I'm speaking to you from Tallahassee, Florida.
Awesome. And when were you first introduced to recovery?
When was I first introduced to recovery?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, I'm having just a little bit of hard time hearing you. Not too bad. Boy, it was a long time ago. It was in recovery. Probably around 1997, 98.
And how long? I was going to say,
yeah,
how long have you been clean?
Yeah, I've been clean and sober since 99.
Awesome. All right.
Yeah. But I stayed out there way too long, man. I played around and I played around for 30 years. Drinking, drugging, and sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Whatever else was on the table or...
Yeah.
Yeah, boy. Wherever it was. I had a chance to do the bump with O.J. Simpson.
What? How did you not say that in your first podcast? How did that not come up?
Oh, well, a lot didn't come up.
That's true. Oh, wow. Yeah, in 30 years, that's a hell of a lot to say. All right. Well, with all that out of the way, you can take it away and tell people about yourself, and then lead us into our discussion for tonight. Okay.
Well, other than what I shared with you, that's about it, pretty much. And after playing around, I married. My husband was a cop, and he said, at the time I was smoking. I was doing marijuana and anything else I could find at the time. And he said, I want to marry you, but I can't condone what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And I said, but what about drinking? Can I still drink? Oh, yeah, you can still drink. Drinking's legal. So I said, okay, fine. I'll give this up. And then to myself, what does any good alcoholic addict do is double up on the other end to make up for it.
Yeah, of course.
And yeah, really. So that's kind of what I did. And through our marriage, I drank the first 12 years and stayed pretty much in a blackout. Mm-hmm. And, I would drink anything. I was a liar, cheat, and a thief. I mean, I was. It got so bad, I'm even embarrassed to say it, but I remember asking my daughter to go in the liquor store for me. I gave her money, told her what I wanted. Yeah, 12 years old. She might have been 10 or 11 at the time. I don't. Pretty sad, but the stuff that we did, I mean, I had a one-track mind, and that was always, do I have enough money to get through the weekend? Mm-hmm. So I can have enough booze to have on hand, and enough is that kind of elusive word, what is enough? Is a half a bottle enough? Is one bottle enough? Is one bottle and a pint enough? It just, enough was never enough. And pretty soon I was drinking, what felt like almost 24/7. But I quit drinking. Finally, my daughter said to my husband once, they were talking about how long was it going to, how long was I going to keep going to those meetings? You remember that question, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. How long do you got to keep going to those meetings? And I forgot what I said, and my daughter said to my husband, no, my husband said to my daughter, "Oh, that's okay, honey. She's going to quit this like she quit everything else." And I mean, that really did something to me. I never quit. In fact, I was as determined to not drink as I was when I was looking for my next drink. Yeah, that's when I started going to meetings, and I stayed sober, but I got really involved, as probably so many of us do. But my resolve was always there, because I had my fill. I was just, even today, I'm just sick and tired of being sick and tired, man. I was at the point of no return. I was ready to jump off of that deep crevice and not come back. Yeah, by the time I quit. So, but then after that, we had a gerbil. Now, this is going to sound a gerbil. Okay, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
I know it, right? But the gerbil, my husband, he started breaking out and having this cough and a slight fever, and we thought, oh, it's the gerbil, okay? The gerbil is shedding its skin, and it's causing a reaction in the cough. But we got rid of the gerbil, and then that didn't help. So finally, I got him to go to the doctors, and they did a quick biopsy, because by then they figured something was going on. They had felt his lymph nodes, and the doctor came and said to us both. I remember I had a recording, and I just threw the recording out a couple of years ago. But the doctor said, "I don't know how to tell you this, but you only have 4 months, maybe 6 months to live at the best, at the very best. You have advanced lung cancer, stage 4. And he was right, man. He was right. My husband died 6 months, almost to the day later. And my daughter was in Australia at the time. She met somebody out there and fell in love, and just really, at the time she was playing with the Tallahassee Winds, which is a 100-piece orchestra, and so they commissioned to play at the Sydney Opera House. So that's what that trip was about. So she was gone when he died. She knew it was coming, but she's 17 years old and on the trip of her life. Death, what's that? So it didn't faze her. But anyway, I was ready to go when they came and took my husband out of the bedroom. I don't know if you guys remember this story. If I told you the first time, lined up on the kitchen shelf or the bathroom shelf was fentanyl patches, liquid codeine. This is what got me. Big bottle, like a 16-ounce bottle of liquid codeine, and fentanyl patches and oxycodone and morphine. Everything, you name it. And so when they took my husband away, it was just me in the house, and I freaked. I mean, that you know how they talk about that little bitty shitty committee? This was a full-fledged orchestra going on. I mean, it was screaming. Yeah. Come on. I can we got what you need, baby, right here. This is going to take all that pain away. Don't cry. Just come over here and take that top off. And that's it. Well, I was so there. But by that time, I had 5 years of recovery. So I quick called my sponsor. He had just left, maybe 20 minutes before he died. And she came back and she said, stay on the phone with me and get out of the house, starting right now. Just get out in the sun, get in the backyard. I don't care where you go, but get out of the house. And so she came back and flushed it all and got rid of it. Oh, my God. Woo! That was the crowning glory in my sobriety. That was number one. The second time when I wanted to die, I really wanted to die, was when my daughter passed away. My daughter, by now, 7 years had passed from my husband. And she was back in Australia. She met somebody she loved and was living there. And she sent me an email one day and said, Mom, I'm sorry I'm telling you this now, but I wanted to make sure that we knew what was going on before I said anything to you. She has this disease called idiopathic pulmonary arterial hypertension. And she had about 2.5 years to live. Yeah, it just blew me away. So anyway, I went out there, spent a couple of weeks with her and touring, and got this regimen and everything she did. And then about a year after that, things were, God, it's weird how that happens. Somebody's going to die, but life goes on. And you just keep living life while the other person is dying, but they're still living life. So anyways, that's how it was for a year, until I got a call about midnight one night from her boyfriend. Oh, hi, Mrs. Harriet. Just want to let you know that Laura is in ICU. She's been here now for a week. She's under observation. And I'm like, what do you mean she's under observation in an ICU? Who speak in ICU under observation? So I, within 48 hours, because it takes, you lose a day on the way over there. So I was there in 48 hours, exhausted, but I made my way to the hospital and stayed with her, and she never left. She had contracted, meanwhile, in addition to the idiopathic pulmonary hypertension, she contracted a staph infection. That's what put her in there. So by the time they got rid of the staph infection, her body was already too compromised, shutting down her kidneys, liver, heart. It was a trip. It was a trip and a half, man. It was just, there will never, ever be anything like it, ever again. When you lose your child, it is absolutely a piece of your own heart that you can never get back. You're always walking around wounded, so to speak, because you just are never the same. So what saved my life over there, really quick, is AA. I met this woman at an AA meeting. I got connected right away at the hospital from like 7 to 7 at night. And then I would go to an AA meeting. And by this time, oh my goodness, the people in Australia, the Aussies, are just unbelievable. They came out of the woodwork for me. Did I tell you the story about the guy who picked me up at the airport? His name was Russell. I was doing volunteer work before for online international AA, a small core group of about 35, 40 people from all over the world. Oh, and we would field calls that came into AA.org, right? Everything. I need an Al-Anon meeting. Can my husband go? Can my brother go? Can the priest go? I need an AA meeting in, who knows where, East Jahunga, wherever that is. I don't even think there's such a place. But so anyway, I was volunteering there. So I put a call out because I was leaving the next morning. And then I thought, oh my God, I don't know where this place is. How do I get there? So I asked them, I told them I was leaving indefinitely. Do they know anybody in Melbourne, Australia? Somebody from Belgium wrote back and said, yes, email this guy right now. He's standing by. His name is Russell. So I did that, and Russell came to the airport. But I don't know where he was. He didn't know where I was. Finally, I'm in the queue about an hour later after I get there, right? Terrified to leave because I didn't know how far the hospital was, blah, blah, blah. So I'm in the queue for the taxi, and here comes this guy, and I just knew it was him. He looked like Audrey, what's his name? Arlo Guthrie. Y'all remember Arlo?
Yes, I know who Arlo Guthrie is. Yep.
Oh my goodness. Alice's Restaurant. Look up that record. Anyway, this guy was personified, Arlo Guthrie. I turned around and I hollered. I said, Russell, is that you? And he turned a sign around in his hand that had my name on it. That was him. So he, God bless him, raced me to the hospital, and that's where I stayed for about 12 days. And so that's how that went. AA saved my life. Every day while I was there, and even until I got home. But, so of course I wanted to drink. When she died, the day she died, I was struck by just such disbelief. There are no words. I was able to say goodbye to her and touch her hand in the hospital room after she died, and it was so surreal. And I knew I couldn't drink, okay? But I could gamble. So Oh, I don't know about you, but I'm an alcoholic addict and so much more. Mm-hmm. Okay. So what could I do? I had to do something. I couldn't live with the pain. The pain was killing me. I tried to get laid. I couldn't get laid. I went to gamble and just threw a few cards, and that was about it. And then I was home in 2 days, but I stayed sober. And the day after she died, I went to an AA meeting, and I told them, and I thanked everybody for their warm welcome and their handout and all the help and the rides and the food. And I stayed sober because of AA. I knew if I drank, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. After you have some time, I knew that for me to drink would be, no question, would be for me to die. I was in too much grief. And then I get on the airplane. I got to tell you this, man. If I hadn't been in so much pain, it would have been a Hallmark movie. I'd have turned around and clocked her one. I had a letter from the States that they faxed me to the hospital that said Mrs. Hare lost her daughter and she's eligible for a $150 discount on the way home. So at the Delta desk, the woman took the letter from me and she said, well, you can't ever use this again. This is good for one time only.
Oh, and my God.
I know. I wanted to smack her. I said, well, thank God. That's good to know. What a trip. anyhow, so I get home and I stay sober. And, I hope you guys don't remember what I said before, because I can't change it. If you've heard it before, I apologize. But I don't know how to change it to make it different, Mm-hmm. So I was home for about a year, and the year in between Laura's sentence in Australia, I decided that I wanted to get an RV and travel, because things were happening. So I did. I got an RV and I traveled cross country with my 2 dogs. It was the best thing in the world I ever did. But while there, for 7 weeks, I toured several different states at length. And while I was there, I started journaling, and I started to write about feelings and emotions. And I was so close to God, closer than I had ever been in my life. And so when I got back, I remember saying to my mother, "Oh my God, I think I have a book here, Mom. This could be a book." Mm-hmm. And I was looking at some other daily readers, okay? And that's when I came up with Miracles of Recovery, because I talked about, every page is personal. Every page starts out with a paragraph, usually about me, mm-hmm. Because it's my experience. And then I would go to pain, and it was real easy to talk about pain. Mm-hmm. So, anyways, yes, I took gold in a national competition. I was awarded first place for nonfiction for Miracles. And then this year, early, back in March or April, I approached the guys from intherooms.com. Are you familiar with that place?
I'm not.
Oh, wow. It is over 700,000 people strong. It is a global, international cyberspace where they host over 136 meetings every week. And it's like when I greet people there and welcome people, I'll tell them, man, if you don't find what you're looking for here, I don't think it exists. They've got meetings on everything imaginable. And Miracles of Recovery is one such meeting. So I'm there once a week on Sundays at 2 o'clock. And is now a good segue, guys.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, all right. Well, then, yes, every Sunday I'm there, and I read another page. So today's read just happened to be Staying Vigilant in Recovery. And this is how it starts out. Many in recovery are satisfied with just getting by. There are ones who subscribe to the thought that life has returned, quote, to normal. Mm-hmm. This thing is what recovery refers to as complacency. Not engaged in addictions, our disease tells us we're better now. Some decide one meeting a month is enough and let go of rituals and spiritual maintenance once was a vital part of their daily routine. This is enough until it's not. Without realizing it, our disease moves, pulling us over time away from our fellowship and away from our meetings. The last stronghold is our turning away from our higher power, the foundation of recovery we once coveted for our own. Then one life swings a bat, delivering a wallop that knocks us off our feet. We pick up a drink, and our world comes crashing down. We're aghast, in disbelief. How could this happen to us? This incident embittered, restless, and discontented. We forget who we are. A person with incurable disease that never stops. Similar to cancer in remission, our disease lies dormant until we pick up that first drink or drug, and then it's back. Each time we're told by those who made it back was worse than before. Never, ever better. We're told to be alert, watchful. Alcoholism alone is cunning, baffling, and powerful. We become complacent, less than vigilant, and we will feed our demons again. Even as we abstain, our disease is doing push-ups, never losing its power to seize our first moment of weakness and sabotage our sobriety. We forget we're afforded a mere 24-hour reprieve based upon the maintenance of our spiritual condition. Protecting our sobriety is as important as the air we breathe, because without it, our breathing doesn't matter anyway. Today's meditation is a little prayer. It says, Dear God, myself, my sobriety, and you are the three most important things in my life today. Without all three, I cannot stay sober. And then there's a little, each page or each read, if you will, comes with its own little quote accompanying it. Yeah. So, this is so good for me.
Yeah.
Because now, you see, I've lost since that time, since my daughter died, and it was 7 years in August. I have lost also 2 brothers from this disease. The beat goes on, and it doesn't care. All it wants is to kill us. And I can't ever forget that, because I've been so close a couple of times. The feeling, it's kind of like that shot of whiskey. It doesn't leave my mouth. It's always with me. And I know for me to drink is to die, man, one way or the other. Because, my only reason now for being alive, I don't have my family. I just lost a dog last week. I have one last with me. What the hell am I here for?
Yeah.
But the truth is, man. But the truth of the rest of the story is, I am here. Thank you for letting me tell my story, for letting me not sitting here to rot.
Yeah.
I have to be of service. If I can't be of service, then I might as well be dead. So, guys, that's my story.
All right. Well, we definitely have our own perspectives and practices of vigilance. And would you like to start, Eric?
I'm still just absorbing all of this, so...
You're absorbing?
Yeah.
I'll let you absorb. What about you? Okay, Carly is shaking her head, looking like she's seeing ghosts. So I guess David, by default, will go.
That leaves you, David.
It does.
You wanted to go first anyway, so I don't know why you even fucking asked.
God. This is what I deal with, Harriet. Everybody's against me.
Play the victim.
No. I really appreciate your story, because it really put a lot of things in perspective. And I've actually listened to your podcast probably a good 2 or 3 times, because it was that powerful. And I remember at the time of recording it, what was my reaction, Eric?
What, afterwards?
No, while we were recording her the first time.
You were about to cry.
I was about to cry. I almost cried.
You might have cried.
I didn't.
Are you sure?
I have too much pride as it comes to you, I don't think you've ever seen me cry, but you know about my crying.
Definitely seen you cry.
Damn it. Okay. Well,
Wow.
not that day. But no, it affected me just as much tonight. Like, I came into this podcast feeling really feeling shitty about something that's like just
so
trivial.
irrelevant.
It's so irrelevant. Like we're Carly and I and Eric. We're all football fans.
I watched the game.
Yeah, and our
But
team.
it's just a game.
Yeah, our team lost today.
It's
and
okay.
Yeah, I was bummed out about it. And like now I just don't even care.
Sounds about right, yeah.
I'm totally over it. It's just, wow, that is completely irrelevant. It is not as important as spending time with the people around us. Yeah, but vigilance and self-honesty, I think, are two of the most important things in recovery and in my recovery as well.
Glad to hear you say that. Self-honesty.
Oh, it's true. And I think it goes hand in hand because you can't be vigilant without self-honesty. Because if you're quote unquote being vigilant, but you're in a state of denial or arrogance or ego,
Yep.
You can just lead yourself astray so fast. So yeah, the honesty absolutely has to go with the vigilance, that self-policing. And like one of the biggest things I talk about with my sponsor is policing my own thoughts, because that's where it all begins. And
say that, David. I'm sorry. Policing what?
My thoughts, because that's
Your thought.
Yeah. Policing my own brain, staying on top of everything I'm thinking, because we're not always responsible for the first thing that pops into our head. Like, it's our brain. An addict's brain usually runs about 1 million miles a minute, and you can't control some of the things that come into your brain sometimes. So you have to figure out how to really understand what's going on in your head.
Yep.
And how it's relating to your emotions and your actions and everything, because that is where our power comes in. Like, at almost 8 years clean, like every once in a while it's like, oh, that beer looks good. Oh, what if I got high? And then it's just like, nah, that's a bad idea. Like, but those sneaky thoughts, they pop in every once in a while, and then you have to have that honesty with yourself to not freak out. Because in early recovery, like whenever I had those thoughts, I was like, oh my God, I'm thinking about drugs and alcohol again. Like, oh my God, what am I doing? And then after so long, like it just pops in there, and you're just like, oh, I just thought about drugs and alcohol. I was like, oh, that might be nice. Nah, probably not though. Yeah, like you got to keep yourself realistic with it. And one thing, not necessarily directly relating to addiction, but under the same umbrella is depression. Like 100%, especially when you're going through such huge traumatic things like you went through, and like that we've all went through.
Oh my God!
Like you can, like, this suicide in recovery is a real thing. Like, that's something that needs to be talked about, because
yep, that's right.
Because you can be so in depth in your recovery that you're like, oh, well, at that point, drugs and alcohol don't even look attractive, and you're so depressed that you're just like, fuck it. And that's not the right answer either. So being,
that's right, David. That's right.
Being able to be open and honest and vulnerable about those times is just as key in recovery, because that's survival as well. And it's not surviving drugs and alcohol; it's surviving your own emotions and mind, and just the the trials of life. And
absolutely.
So yeah, like vigilance, it's a daily practice. It's a moment-to-moment practice sometimes, especially in difficult times, especially in 2020 where things have been astronomical for all of us.
You aren't kidding.
And sometimes it's just sitting on your fucking hands, sweating it out, crying it out, doing whatever you have to do to just claw and hold on to that one moment, that one day, and just get through it. And hopefully you'll be a little stronger for the next day to learn your lesson and move forward in your recovery.
That's right, man, because it all passes.
Mm-hmm. Eventually.
Glad you mentioned too about depression, because I would like to add, I after my husband died, I started seeing a grief counselor, and I haven't. He's been gone now 17 years, and I'm still going to somebody because when a person grieves, oh my God, we grieve about everything.
Yeah.
I never knew how stressed I was because people don't talk about their grief. We stuff it, we ignore it, we put it aside. It's no big deal. Bullshit. That's the stuff that grows into regrets and resentments, and you're angry and you're resentful at yourself. It all adds up. Absolutely. And I would like to tell anybody, don't let anybody tell you what you need. If you need healing, by God, you deserve to go get it.
Yeah.
If you have to be put on some kind of medication, and that's between you and your doctor, by God, you just do it. Nobody knows what anybody else needs.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Eric or Carly, who's next?
I'll go. So, I was thinking about this while we were sitting here, and you're talking about vigilance and how what it really comes down to is just, where do you want to effectively put your time? For example, if you look at people who want to, lose weight and get in better shape, if they don't commit the time to their nutrition or working out, then nothing is going to change. Like, you didn't even start with vigilance.
I really like where you're going with this. Just keep going.
Okay.
Ignore me. I see where you're going, and I'm like, ooh, I like this.
So, it all comes back to, like, what are you willing to do? Because if you're not even willing...
What are you willing to do?
Yes.
That's right.
That is what vigilance is in a nutshell. Am I willing to give up doing all this other stuff for this goal? And if I'm, for example, just my life right now, I've been playing a lot of this video game.
What video game?
Hades.
Okay.
To be honest, that is really what I want to be doing right now. I'm obsessed. I'm so obsessed. Almost 40 hours.
Oh, wow.
40 hours in 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. It's an addiction. Yes, it is.
I'm dedicated, but there are things that I need to do.
It's a positive twist on things.
So, in a few days, when I go back to work, like, I'm taking some time off. When I go back to work, that's like my time where I'm like, all right, we're going to switch this and go back to, like, you can't, when you get off work, you have to, like, do things around the house. And, like, and this isn't a straight up, like, recovery drug thing, but this is just, like, vigilance in our daily lives too. Like, if I play video games, and again, video games are an addiction. My cousin right now has decided to, like, take a break from video games because it became unmanageable. So he's like, I think 30 days without video games.
Wow.
But, so, if I keep playing video games and I make that my priority, then all of like the honey-do list and, you know, doing work that I need to do after, you know, stuff for the podcast, all of that stuff just goes away because I care more about this video game. So if, let's say for our recovery, you know, instead of going to a meeting or reading a book, you know, you're just watching football and, I don't know, eating popcorn. Your priorities are out of whack, and you have to adjust to figure out, you know, because if you aren't vigilant towards your goal, like, you have to have a goal, and you have to make sacrifices for that goal. And if you're not willing to do that, then it's not going to work out.
But, you know, let me just interject another thought, if I could. I wrote a page on this. It's called Non-Negotiable Sobriety. Some things, and I really kind of started the page out like that too. Death and taxes. There are some things that are non-negotiable. But what about alcohol? What about drugs? You know, why they too should be non-negotiable. I mean, there should not be, you know, and not, this is just my opinion. Yeah, man, because if we don't stand, here's how I ended that page. If we don't stand for something, then we stand for nothing. You know, that's how I spent my life. Of course, it wasn't video games because I'm like twice as old as I think. But don't laugh so hard, will you?
There was Pong. I'm sure somebody got addicted to Pong back in the day.
Oh yeah, people definitely got it. As soon as games started playing, like, I mean,
yeah.
Pong was revolutionary.
Yeah, you're right. But I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, anyway, yeah, you know, that's how I live my life. Is just from trying to one high to another, searching for that perpetual, never ending was the goal, high. And it didn't matter what it was. But now, in order for me to really stay vigilant in recovery, I'm the type of alcoholic that my brain, I have a disease of perception. Even if I'm in a meeting, somebody will snap that pop top off, you know, and my brain. Oh yeah, man, my brain says it's Miller time somewhere. Yeah, and I hated beer. Okay, but so that's So you think about the disease of perception. I don't right, and having a vigilance and recovery, that all adds up to something that's non-negotiable, and that makes it safer. Is the point I'm trying to get to? For me, because I know I cannot compromise.
Yeah,
I treat it like an allergy, like a peanut or strawberry allergy. I just can't go there, because if I do, there's no stopping.
Yeah.
All right. But anyway,
you got nothing?
I don't know. Not that I have nothing, but like.
Can I ask you a question off the cuff?
Yeah.
How did you, and you know, hands up here, but how did you remain vigilant when your mother passed in your recovery?
That's a good question, because like last year when I celebrated, it was like I don't even know where the last year went of my life, because like I just shut everybody out at some point. And that's what I'm like trying to think about sitting here. Like, I mean, I know in some way that I'm vigilant, but I wouldn't say that it's in my recovery every single day. Like for a while, I just pushed everybody away when that happened. And it was like little by little, just letting things that I was comfortable with in. I mean, it's not like I got off track by it, which honestly surprised me because that was probably my biggest resentment coming into recovery if my mom passed away. So I don't know if it was like the foundation that I kind of had built from starting in recovery, but yeah,
that's got to be a tough one. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I haven't had to face that one yet, and it scares me to death.
And part of vigilance in a fellowship and just as human beings is being vigilant of other people as well. Because I remember, like, when you were going through that, I was texting you every day, Carly. Every day. And was I ever like telling you what you need to do or anything like that? No. I just knew that you needed that contact. Just something.
Yeah.
Every day.
And I think like that was probably super helpful because if somebody was telling me what I needed to be doing, I would have been like, well, fuck you. I'm going to go do this instead.
Yeah.
And that's exactly the kind of attitude I would have had.
Yeah, I know. And I knew that because like I had to approach it like during that, like I really tried to put myself in your shoes as much as possible and know that I wouldn't want to be dictated to and be like, you need to go to a meeting. You need to do this. You need to do that. And I was like, because first of all, it's Carly's process, not my process. I just wanted to show up. I just wanted to show up and be there for the shitty days and just keep that window open, because then throughout that process, when you did have really shitty days, you would text me about it. And that's 100% you being like vigilant throughout that time. Like when, like, there were times when you would text me and you're like, I don't even know how I feel today. And I just tried to like, and that's part of like the reassurance, as a collective, just like sponsorship is such the integral part of this, of recovery. Like rarely does anybody recover alone. Is it possible? Sure.
Amen.
Is it recommended? Not by me.
No.
Even for Eric, who's like, no,
I can totally. I can recover alone. It's fine. I just need my video games and my work, and I have 3 cats, so I'm fine.
Oh, but I'm still here doing all this, right? I'm still here doing all this,
dude. No. Eric is absolutely 100% the mastermind of podcast recovery, and the amount of work he puts in is just second to none. So let's. Yay! little applause for Eric, because that's Eric's vigilance, and that's Eric's vigilance in recovery. He's gone through the big book probably more times than he would want to.
The basic text.
I've only been
through the big book a few times.
Yeah.
So
and you've gone through all of those texts, and you answer however many emails and messages and all that shit. And like some people are like, oh well, it's not 12 steps. I'm like, it's still work in recovery. Like any work in recovery is progress, period.
Well, I mean, it's like going to a soup kitchen and, donating your time. Is that not like, recovery or giving back, right?
100%.
Like, it doesn't have to, you don't have to like, fucking segregate your service to just addicts.
Yeah. That's becoming a productive member of society for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, I would say the thing that I am vigilant in is school and trying to finish. So, like, when I think of that, though, I don't think, like, oh, I'm being vigilant in my recovery. But
you're better than yourself.
That is your recovery. Your recovery is your life. Like, and not like recovery is your life, but you're recovering everything Carly can be. And, the amount that you pushed yourself forward and like taking a fucking pay cut for this shit just so you can get the absolute most out of your schooling that you possibly can and like further your life. That's just like he was talking about. Like I was talking about more of like the cerebral aspect. He was very much talking about the action of vigilance, and that's why I said that. I was like, "Ooh, I really like that."
Well, like like the way I look at recovery is, school is more of a recovery than what step you're on.
Yeah,
because like you said, you're recovering. Like recovery is the act of recovering your life and then growing and becoming better from all that. So it's not necessarily like, oh, I have this service commitment, or I'm on this step, I have this many sponsees, and this is kind of the hierarchy of where I level up in my recovery.
What belt am I at now?
Yeah, I think it's more like about
what life you're building.
Well, yeah, it's like, I spent time with my family today, right? Like I did this, like I made time for my significant other. I instead of putting whenever like I took my dog for a walk instead of just like walking it outside to use the like little things add up to recovery.
Yeah,
it's not
yeah. All my anniversary celebrations in NA, I like if it was a choice between having those or having the relationship back with my nieces and nephews, I'd throw out those meetings every time.
Yeah,
100 times. Like getting that back after like 4 years of being clean, being able to like see my nieces again. It's the most fucking important. It's probably the most important thing in my fucking recovery. That's amazing. Like that, I get to be part of my family again. Like that's huge.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, like
yes, it is.
We don't always see how we're being vigilant.
Right. Well, like I haven't picked up my step work in probably 3 months, but like right now I'm teaching the 2 days a week, interning 3 days a week, class 1 night a week, and planning a fucking wedding.
Yeah.
And right now I can only take things usually like 5 to 10 minutes at a time, but with all of that going on, I'm not going to as many meetings as I probably used to.
Yeah. That's fine.
And then that's when like I look at vigilance, I'm like, oh well, I'm shit in the bed. But
yeah. Well, when we all talk about it like this, and like I tell you this all the fucking time, you're killing the game. You are. You're doing all this. I know you're getting good grades. I know you're doing well at your job, and you're still showing up at your home group 90% of the time.
Yeah, I didn't go last night.
That's fine.
And see, where I was coming from too is when I read that meditation, dear God, myself, my sobriety, and you are the 3 most important things. So when I'm able to keep those 3 things vigilant, keep in the forefront, it doesn't matter so much if I only get to 1 meeting a week, or if I only have 1 sponsee, or my priorities have shifted because of the necessity of my life at the time.
Yes.
If I'm keeping those 3 things vigilant in my life, I'm protected.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, it's kind of like the daily reprieve. We get it in the big book. It talks about what we really have is a 24-hour reprieve. We call it a day of execution based upon the maintenance of our spiritual condition, see? So that's vigilance also. So, well, guys, I'm so grateful. Thank you so much for allowing me to be of service and to be useful.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure. I think we all got a lot out of it tonight. Like it was fantastic. And I'm pretty sure Carly's now going to go back and listen to your podcast.
I already listened to it. Like after like Harriet started talking and telling some of her story, I was like, I definitely listened to this because I'm pretty sure you texted me and was like, you have to go listen to this podcast.
Yeah. And I think and it was like right at the time when you were like kind of in the thick of it. I probably made you cry. I'm sorry about that.
No, you're not.
But maybe you needed to hear it at the time. So
you're like infectious with these like cry spells, man. Like you're just like,
I'm gonna get you. He
doesn't want to cry alone.
One day I'm gonna get you, Eric. When you cry, I will cry. And we'll cry together, buddy.
You'd already be crying. So.
I would see you like getting there, and I'd be like, "Oh my god, Eric's about to cry."
This is one of those moments when the sun sets over a mountain.
Hey, sometimes it's beautiful.
Let me know? will you guys let me know when it's going to air?
Yeah, certainly.
Yep, I can definitely do that. And yeah, we have a lovely way of thanking our guest tonight, right?
Do we? Oh, what? Harriet, we'd love to, since you're now off the hot seat, I would love to thank you for joining us on Podcast Recovery.
Whoa, really threw a curveball at you there.
He was mid-tier.
Yeah.
That's not where I
And Harriet, where can our listeners find you?
They can find me in the room Sunday at 2 o'clock for an hour, or they can find me by going to Harriet Hunter, ODAAT, at gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
Or they can find me by going to my website, which is the easiest. It's harriethunter.org.
All right.
And that's where I will be.
All right. Eric, why don't you tell our listeners how they can become part of the Podcast Recovery family?
So here at Podcast Recovery, we're going to need your help to keep the mics on. And you guys okay over there?
Yes, it's just the way you approached the mic and started speaking so intently.
So sorry, I've been listening to a lot of Dan Patrick lately.
Okay,
and,
all right, that makes sense.
If you listen to Dan Patrick, he does that like all the time. So.
I mowed Dan Patrick's lawn.
I know that we've actually had this conversation.
Okay,
I think at least 3 times. Yes,
2.
Nice.
So
to Eric.
You can join our home group at Patreon, or throw a few dollars in our digital basket at our PayPal account, which you can find in the information below. And then also, we are on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. And you can like, follow, subscribe, comment, share, do whatever else you do on all of those platforms. Mm-hmm. David?
All right.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. But most importantly, everybody out there, Carly.
Stay safe, stay clean.
Bingo.